Hey, what's going on? So I have been out of the country for 9, 10 months, watching all the email traffic and the YouTube traffic on updates on this car. So I figured I'd take the time to do one on camera. I got home, changed the oil. Everything's been great. There was a bit of a panic moment when I changed the oil. The filter here was completely dry. Seldom have I seen oil drain entirely out of a filter after that long, but it was completely dry, which made me question whether or not I installed the oil pump properly when I put this motor together. So I filled it back up with oil, I left the filter off, I shut off the fuel for the motor, and I cranked it just to see if it would spit oil, and it did. So I was relieved to see that I hadn't screwed up the motor. But always remember to check your filters when they come out. That one could have led to a potential problem, but thankfully everything's fine. Change the oil and it runs like a bat out of hell now. But today I'm working on my horn. Well, I should say my wheel. If you'll notice, it's maybe 10 degrees off from being straight, so that's where I would want it to be as I'm driving. But just the way that it worked out when putting it together, I thought I had the wheel straight, put the wheel on, bolted it down. It's a little cockeyed, so I'm just going to take the wheel off, adjust it to where I want it, and then bolt it back on. So that being said, I need to disconnect the power just in case, and the horn's going to go a little crazy when I try and take it off. So let me see if our GoPro holder is going to work. Alright, there we go. Gotta find the sweet spot where the horn comes out. There we go. Just the circuit closes when this bolt comes down and touches the nut of the steering column, and a spring to give it return. And 7/8 ratchet. There we go. Try not to scratch up my wheel. This is a 40 Ford Repop, a 40 Ford Deluxe wheel. I got it off of eBay with the GM pattern, and you'll see there's little crusties left over in the nut from where I applied a thread locker. So I'll put that back when it's all said and done. There's a washer in here that the bolt rides on. I should say the nut that I just took off rides on this washer. And then it's a keyed column, GM, with the star pattern. It has a certain amount of teeth. I don't really remember what it is, but if you wanted to, you could probably research it. And then hopefully I don't need a steering wheel puller since I just put this thing on. No. Get a little bit more comfortable. Alright, well, I'm going to need a puller. So I'll be back. Okay, by the magic of the camera, I went and found my steering wheel puller in the bottom of my drawer, and I shot some liquid lubricant. So what I'm going to do right now is get the steering wheel, I'm going to mark where it's currently pointed, and then where I want it to be pointed. That's about right. Okay. So this puller just uses a bunch of different bolts and this T with a threaded nut through it. Put that down in the center. If you haven't seen how one works, you can just Google it and find all the parts and what they do and where they go. You want to run enough thread down through the steering wheel so Nothing gets damaged when you're trying to pull it out. And then you get this nice close-up view while I go get a wrench. Okay, got my wrench. So, these two bolts run down into the steering wheel, and this one pushes against the steering wheel shaft threaded portion where the nut goes on, and that puts opposite force against it and should back off nice and slowly. We'll see. There we go. And that's probably all it needed. Yep. Running free. And all that just with hand tight bolts and a crescent wrench to turn the big one. And that's like a $30 kit from Harbor Freight. Honestly, this is the first steering wheel I've pulled with that kit. You'll notice how this T-junction is like wallowed down to a center. So on my 46 Dodge rear end, the yoke, it doesn't half open, it's just solid rings. So it's the only thing I could think of to modify a tool, slide in there. And you know, it still works as a steering wheel puller, so that's a win-win. And then with that, just jiggle the wheel off. Careful not to disturb the horn ring. So this makes contact with the inner button, rides on it, and that's what signals the horn. But now that I have this off, I'll make sure I get the wheel back. You found my orientation marks. Nope, that would have been a little bit low. Trying to be on that one. Yeah, there we go. That should fix my cockeyed steering wheel. Okay, now you put your washer back on and your nut, and I do have a little bit of Loctite. Let me grab that. So in the thread locker blue, that oddly enough comes in a red container. And that's the removable thread locker. And do you need thread locker for your steering column? No. Should you? Yeah. Just to be safe seas. Okay, plenty of squeeze out on the thread locker. That should be plenty. Put our spring back on for the horn to return. And then I can do this with one hand. I had to modify this. It didn't want to work this way, but now it does. That's the beautiful thing about modifying your own shit. Alright, put the power back on. Okay, there we go, job complete. I hope you guys enjoyed following along with that. I'm going to try and do a lot more little videos like that. I have a big project plan to make a Carson top, a hard top that is essentially looks like a soft vinyl top that will be pretty high. You know, my head is about here. It's a couple inches over the windowsill, or the window frame. But I think I need something to keep the water out. So more to come on that. Probably a bunch of videos of just piece by piece. You know, I don't really have it worked out in my head yet. I just know it's going to be a wood visor that probably leans forward a little bit to tie in how drastically the roof has to come up to allow my head to be in there when it's closed, it's going to hinge from the front windshield, so like a clamshell that opens up. I'm going to use steel piping, very thin wall steel piping to build out the frame, and some piano hinges along the front windshield that will allow it to open up. So you should see some videos coming for that. But like and subscribe. If you have any questions about this project or anything you see here, leave it below. I want to pay forward, answering questions that people have on projects. God knows I have asked a ton of questions. So let me know what you think. See you guys later.